A hand yanked his jaw open. The hot broth poured past his teeth. His wrists bucked against rope. Something sharp dug into his spine. Another hand gripped his throat. He choked once. His head slammed backward into fur. A foot stomped his ankle flat. The cup vanished. A fire flared. Smoke wrapped his face. He twisted, blind. Breath caught short. A drumbeat slammed through the ground. Painted fingers grabbed his tongue. A blade pressed against it. His knees slipped out from under him. The fire cracked again. The blade pushed forward. His jaw strained wide open. Then, the real price was revealed. His knees slammed into grit. Elbows skidded. Dust climbed his throat. His teeth locked tight. He stayed down. Ribs pushed sharp through his side. Each breath felt torn from something deeper. He shifted onto his hands. Bones shook. He crawled one arm at a time. Behind him, the horse groaned. Leather creaked. Then silence. The reins hung loose from the saddle horn. No twitch, no breath, no life. He turned once, saw the flies already coming, could not lift his hand to wave them off. The sun worked low and slow against his back. His hat was gone. So was his water. So was his last day of strength. He rose again, only to fall again, shoulder into sand, jaw clacked against stone. Blood ran from his lip. He let it. He had followed what used to be a trail, maybe for cattle, maybe just dry wind memory. Whatever it was, it had failed him. 3 times he thought he saw a tree line. 3 times it shimmered and vanished. 1 time he heard bells. No bells came at dusk. He found a creek bed dry dead. He found roots like claws, a bone wedged between 2 rocks, cracked clean, picked hollow. He stood in it anyway, dragged his feet down the line, searching for damp. None came. His hands curled toward his chest, held nothing, not a scrap, not a crumb, just skin and splinters. 1 more hill, he told himself without words. 1 more ridge might be pasture, might be a house, might be anything. It was not just flat, spread of heat-hardened land, broken only by the ghost of a fire pit. Char marks in stone, no wood left, no coals, no bodies. He fell beside it, not from choice, not from fear, only gravity. He slept or passed out or died a little. The next light came like a blade, straight through his eyelids. He turned away, face in dirt. He had no tears, nothing left to push out until he smelled it. Smoke not close, not heavy, not pine thin, dry cooked fat, maybe herbs, not white man's wood, not white man's scent. His head raised just a little. There in the distance above a broken ridge, thin trail rising slow, gray against blue, twisting like a snake. Not wailed, not lost. Made not white man's smoke. He pushed 1 hand forward, then another beneath him. The ground burned warm and still. He moved toward it, not thinking, not knowing. Just hunger and a price he had not yet seen. He crawled forward on his elbows, skin peeled across stone. His breath dragged the dust in, coughed it out, dragged it in again. His tongue stuck to his teeth. His legs no longer moved, just dragged behind like leather sacks. His boots caught brush and slowed him. Each inch took longer than the last. No sound but the scrape of his chest. No movement ahead, just a low, flat line of earth. Then a shadow. No, not a shadow. A figure, still bare feet planted, arms at sides, hair long and black, staring. Then another, a smaller one, half hidden behind the first. The cowboy stopped crawling, only because his arms quit. His face dropped into sand, his chest heaved, then slowed. A whisper of wind moved across his back, carried no words, only a dry scent of smoke. Herbs, ash meat, he rolled slightly. Only 1 eye could lift, it saw them all the 6. No 7, standing without weapons drawn, but all holding something. 1 held a carved stick, another held a coil of rope. 1 held nothing but the sky in her eyes. He tried to speak. Nothing came. He opened his mouth, only a dry snap of air, no sound, no plea. The smaller figure stepped forward, still barefoot, still silent. A boy, no older than 10, face like stone eyes, dark as coal soaked in water. The boy bent, touched the cowboy's boot with one hand. No fear, no curiosity, only the touch. Then he stood again, stepped back. The tallest of them lifted one arm, spoke no command, made no gesture, but 2 others moved. They walked toward him. Slow, careful. Not gentle hands, gripped under his shoulders, lifted him like broken wood. His legs dragged, his head lulled. The figures turned, walked away from the sun. The cowboy hung between them, body limp, eyes open. The boy followed behind, still touching the boot, past the edge of the scrub, past a ring of stones into shade that should not have been there. Not mercy, not welcome. Just hands that carried him, just shadows that swallowed him whole. He woke on woven cloth, rough against his spine. His arms were free. His legs were stretched straight. His mouth was stuck shut with dry. He did not move at first, did not breathe deep. Just listened, no sound of horses, no voices in a language he knew. Just the slow crack of something burning. Somewhere close, he turned his head. A woman sat near the fire, knees folded, hands steady. Eyes on him, she held a bowl. Steam rose from it, thin bitter, carried meat and roots. Not sweet, not soft, but full. She stood, walked without sound. Stopped a step from him, held the bowl forward. He did not reach. He could not. She knelt. Her hand came to his chin, fingers. Rough, calloused, dry. She tilted his face up, touched the rim of the bowl to his mouth. He drank. It came too hot, too fast. It burned going down. His body shuddered, coughed once, spilled some on his chest. Still he drank. She did not speak. She did not slow. She lifted the bowl higher, let it pour. His cracked lips softened, his throat loosened. His hands moved without asking, gripped the edge of the bowl, pulled it closer. She let go, stood back, watched. He drank all of it, scraped the last with his fingers, licked them, swallowed hard. When it was gone, he let the bowl fall. It did not break. It rolled once, came to rest near her feet. She picked it up, turned, walked back to the fire. He lay back, breathful, belly, warm muscles, heavy. Relief moved through him. He almost closed his eyes. Then he saw the man, not close, not far, sitting on a carved stump. Face like sand, baked in iron eyes like burnt coal. The man had not blinked once, had not moved, had not looked away. The cowboy blinked, sat up, slow sore. He looked around, more faces. 3 to the left, 2 to the right, one sharpening a blade, another carving bone. No one spoke. Then, from behind the fire, the oldest man rose. He wore no color, only cloth the color of dirt and time, neck bare, arms lined with scars. He stepped forward, stopped near the edge of the firelight, looked at the cowboy, held the gaze. Then he nodded once. 4 men stood one. Carried rope. One carried paint. One carried a small bundle wrapped in hide. The 4th carried nothing. They stepped forward, not fast, not slow. The cowboy did not rise. He knew the bowl had not been a gift, only a door. And now it had opened. Hands forced him down onto the woven mat. His shoulder struck first, then his cheek. Dust filled his mouth. Arms pinned, legs trapped, weight pressed from every side. He did not fight. He could not. A man knelt at his left, another at his right. Their grips were firm, not cruel, not kind. Paint touched his skin, cool at first, then gritty, lines drawn from wrist to elbow, spirals around bone, symbols he did not know, but felt. One voice began, low measured, not loud, not angry. The sound rose and fell, like breath, like steps. It filled the space between heartbeats. The boy stepped forward, bare feet, silent. Both hands held something pale, sharpened, smoothed, a bone worked thin at the edge. The cowboy tensed, muscles jumped, fingers curled, hands tightened, held him flat, his breath shortened, chest locked, The boy knelt, looked once at the elder, then at the wrist. The bone touched skin. Cold, precise pressure came. Then heat. Then a sharp pull. Blood broke free. Dark, thick, fast. His body jerked. A sound tore from his throat. Half breath, half animal. The cut opened wider. Blood ran down his arm, across paint into waiting hands. A bowl caught it. Wood darkened. Steam rose. The voice never stopped, never changed, never rushed. The bowl moved to the fire. Tilted slow. Blood met flame. A hiss. A flare. Fire leaped higher. Then settled. The smell changed iron smoke. Something older. The boy wiped the bone clean, stepped back. The grips released, but hands stayed close ready. The elder stepped forward, held out an object wrapped in hide. The bundle opened, revealed carved wood, shaped like a man, rough, careful, exact. It was placed in his hands, his fingers closed without choice, muscles locked. He tried to drop it, could not. Then the elder pressed his hands together. Once the totem felt warm. Too warm, the fire cracked, shadows stretched long. He understood only this. The mark was made, the debt had shape, and his hands were no longer empty. He sat there breathing. Firelight moved across his arms, paint drying into skin. The cut pulsed steady. Each beat counted. No one touched him. No one turned away. The boy watched from the edge, eyes level, unblinking. The elder lowered himself again, returned to stillness, as if nothing had changed. But everything had. The totem weighed more each breath, wood pressing into palm lines, biting skin. He felt bound, not by rope, not by blade, by knowing. The fire burned lower. Night crept closer. Stars waited above. He remained where he was, held by the circle, held by the mark, held by the thing he now carried. Breath stayed shallow. Time stretched thin. The circle did not break. The fire did not die. And his hands never loosened. The night waited. The price waited. And so did he. Stillness closed in. No mercy. Came only balance. That was the rule now. And it would be paid in full soon. The totem pressed hard into his palms. The edges bit skin. Not enough to bleed. Enough to stay. He turned it in the firelight. Slow, careful. One side carved smooth. The other rough with cuts too deep. Shaped by hand, not by machine. Not by trade. He studied the form. Broad shoulders, straight spine, left arm lower than the right. Just like his jawline cut sharp. Eyes narrow, hair carved, long but tangled. A mark across the chest. He touched his own chest. Found the same mark. Not carved, burned. The figure held nothing, but the hands were shaped to grip, worn smooth in the center, as if carried too long. This was not a symbol. It was a memory, shaped in wood. Not a warning, not a gift. Hunger throbbed behind his ribs. Not for food, for reason. His thumb passed over the brow. The notch above the left eye, he had one. Same place. Same shape. He shut his eyes. The fire snapped once, then the memory came. Not full, just a crack through time. A cabin, wood walls. One door, one bed. A cry from inside. A woman holding a child. Not hers. The cowboy, younger boots still clean, voice still loud. He stepped through the door, torch in one hand, revolver in the other. The room smelled of pine and sweat and fear. He spoke a name. No answer. He raised the torch higher. The woman shielded the child. The child did not cry, just stared. Same eyes, same mouth, same stillness. A shape moved behind the wall. He turned too fast. Shot, once missed, or maybe not. He never stayed to see. He took something. Not the child. Not the woman. Something from the floor. He left without looking back. Flames caught the curtains. Smoke climbed. Voices rose outside. He mounted and rode. Did not slow until morning. The sound of hooves. The weight of what he carried. The silence in the saddle. He opened his eyes. The totem still in his hands. Unchanged. Unburned. Across the fire, the boy sat. Same face, older now. Eyes still hollow. still calm. One hand rested on a folded cloth, the other on his knee. He did not blink, did not speak. He only watched, not like a child, like a ledger come to life. He knew he had carved truth from wood, from memory, from silence. The cowboy felt the weight again, this time not hunger, not shame. A name without sound, a debt without coin. The totem pulsed warm. The boy did not move. The fire rose once more. As if to seal it, the sun broke full over the ridge. Light caught stone, turned dust to gold. The cowboy stood, feet unsteady, eyes crusted, lips sealed with dry. A hand touched his elbow. Not firm, not soft, just a guide. The elder walked ahead, slow measured. Every step left a print. The cowboy followed. They passed through the scrub, past fire pits now cold, past stacked hides, past children who did not speak, up a rise worn by footsteps, worn by time. At the top, the elder stopped. He turned and pointed below. A flat stretch of hard ground, rocks arranged in careful circles, 3 small mounds, one taller than the rest. The cowboy stepped down, each step louder than the last, until he stood before it, a single stone, worn but marked. No name he carried, no blood he claimed, but the lines carved there. He knew the way the letters leaned, the way the corners cut deep. It was his brother's hand. The cowboy crouched, touched the edge of the stone. He remembered the shape of it, from childhood, from maps, from the letter sent west before. Everything split. He saw the first name, not his, but the middle one, the one only family would know, the one whispered once in the back of a church, before dust took the preacher's coat. It was a child's name, not a warrior, not a scout, not a threat, a child. The cowboy pulled his hand back, pressed both palms to his knees, stared until the lines blurred. He did not speak, did not curse, did not cry. He only breathed behind him. The elder stepped closer. Not a word was said, but something passed between them, like wind through cloth, like water in cracked stone. The cowboy stood again. The elder pointed beside the grave to a patch of untouched earth, dry flat, waiting. A short-handled shovel was already there, old used left on purpose. The cowboy stepped forward, took it, held it once at the balance point. He looked back at the stone, then at the boy, standing at the top of the hill alone watching, same as before. Same eyes, same weight. The cowboy drove the shovel in. The dirt did not give easy. It took his full weight, took his full breath, each strike a question, each scoop an answer. He dug. No one helped. The wind moved once, then stopped. The totem still hung at his side. It pulsed with heat, with memory. With something waiting beneath the soil, he dug deeper. The elder did not move. The boy did not blink. The grave beside him held the past. The hole before him held the debt, and he was the balance in between, still digging. Still owed, still not done. The shovel struck rock. Echo cracked low and dull. He pulled it back, drove it down again, felt it jolt through his arms, through the cut still open on his wrist. Dirt lifted in dry chunks, sifted over his boots. Blew sideways in the wind. The elder stood on the ridge, unmoving, watching. No words, no signal. Only presence. The cowboy dug. Hands blistered, skin split where the grip was worn. Blood mixed with dust, dried before it could drip. Sweat soaked his back. His shirt clung like rope muscles, pulled against old scars. Legs buckled more with each foot of depth. The grave grew slow. Hard-packed earth gave no ease. Every inch fought back. Every strike echoed louder. His breath turned ragged. His vision narrowed. He paused once. Palms on knees, eyes shut tight. Then he kept digging. The boy sat below. Near the fire pit, totem in his lap. Hands wrapped around it like prayer. Hours passed. Sun climbed higher. Shadows shortened, the hole deepened. Each scoop a question, each blister an answer. He reached a stone flat, buried deep, too smooth to be natural. He brushed it clean with one hand. The other kept hold of the shovel. Beneath a stone, a wrapped bundle tied in dry leather, faded marks etched across its top. He dropped to one knee, pulled the cloth open. Not bones. Rope worn. Frayed at the middle, cloth. Torn, stained in a pattern he knew one he had seen on a cabin floor, and a bullet? Just one clean. Unfired his. He held it up, rolled it once between thumb and finger. His name carved into the casing. Faint scratched long ago, before guilt, before hunger. They had known, not just guessed, not just suspected, they had known the moment he arrived who he was, what he had taken, what he had buried. He sat beside the pit, item by item laid them in the dirt, not with care, not with anger, just placed, just returned. His chest ached, not from breath, from weight, from something pulling in. He looked up. The elder stood the same, hands folded, face still. The boy had not moved. The totem remained in his lap. The cowboy lowered his head. The sun kept climbing. The shadows disappeared. He reached for the shovel once more, this time not to dig but to cover. He would not speak. He would not beg. He would not ask. The hole was not his, but the contents were, and he would not walk from it untouched. The fire was already burning, low-controlled, contained inside a ring of blackened stone. The cowboy stood at its edge, bare arms marked with dry paint, wrist wrapped in cloth, blisters fresh under the bandage. They had come for him at dusk, said nothing, gestured once he had followed. Now the circle waited, so did the choice. The elder sat cross-legged near the flames, eyes closed, hands resting flat on his thighs. Still as stone, across from him, 4 others stood. The same men who had lifted him from the dust. To the left, the boy. He held something in both hands, wrapped in cloth. He stepped forward, stopped at the edge, unwrapped it. A knife lay flat in his palms, handle dark with wear, blade shaped long and narrow, the edge clean, too clean. The boy said nothing, but the weight of the steel spoke loud. The cowboy looked from the blade to the elder, to the men, to the flame, then back to the boy. No one moved, no one pushed, no voice filled the air, but the choice stood firm. He could walk. No one would stop him. No hands would drag him back, but the hole would remain. The mark would remain. The totem would follow. He could carry it all until the desert buried him, with no fire, no stone, no name, or he could stay and give what could still be taken. He stepped forward. The boy raised the knife, held it out, flat, offered. The fire behind him cracked once. A burst of red lifted into the dark. The cowboy did not take the blade. His hands stayed at his sides, but he looked down and leaned forward, eyes locked with the boy's. Then he reached, not for the handle, for the blade itself. Skin-touched steel pressed into it, not with force, with purpose. The edge broke skin. Slow sure, a line opened across his palm, not deep but wide enough to run. The boy did not pull away, did not flinch. Blood dripped from the cowboy's hand, fell to the dirt. Then the elder opened his eyes. The knife rested in the dirt between them. Firelight washed its edge red. The cowboy bent and picked it up, this time by the handle, grip firm, hand steady. He lifted the totem, brushed dust from its carved chest, then pressed it flat against his own skin. Right over the scar that had never faded, the old mark felt hard beneath the wood, as if it had been waiting. The circle closed in. Not a step closer, not a breath louder, only fire moving slow. He raised the knife, lined it with the scar, held it there, while his breath dragged once through his ribs. Heat rolled off the flames, sweat traced down his spine. Then he cut, steel bit into old flesh. Skin split along the pale line. The wound opened clean. Blood followed the path, already carved by memory. Pain struck sharp, then settled deep and heavy. He did not fall, did not cry out, did not turn away. The fire answered. Flames leaped higher. Sparks burst upward. The ring of stones glowed. He drew the blade again, finished the line, let the knife fall. Blood ran down his chest, across the totem, dripped to the dirt, darkening it. He stood, breathing slow, eyes on the fire, jaw locked, every muscle shaking but holding. Then he spoke. One word, low, rough, learned long ago. An Apache word carried from a dying mouth on a different day. A word meant for return, for balance. For what must be given back. The sound crossed the circle. The fire flared once more, then steadied. The boy stepped forward. Small hands reached out, pressed flat against the wound. Warm blood coated his palms, ran over his fingers. The cowboy did not move, did not pull back. The boy held there. Not long. Just enough, the fire softened, crackled lower as if satisfied. The boy stepped away, wiped his hands on cloth, folded it careful, looked once at the cowboy, then turned back to the edge. The totem slipped from the cowboy chest, fell into the dust at his feet. Silence settled again, thick, complete. The elder rose. He walked to the fire, studied the blood, the mark, the boy. Then he lifted his head. One word left his mouth, leer final, paid. The circle loosened, shoulders dropped, breaths released. The fire burned steady. No higher, no lower. The cowboy stood alone in the ring, blood cooling on skin, pain fixed in place, debt gone. The desert held the moment, then let it pass. He woke under open sky. The fire had gone cold. Ash spread wide, rocks still warm beneath his back. His chest ached, bandage drawn tight. Dirt clung to his arms. His hands were clean. No one stood near. No breath stirred the silence. Only the desert moved, wind low, sun rising slow. His rifle leaned against a post. Wiped clean strap repaired, his saddle rested nearby. Blanket folded with care, water skin full and cool. His horse stood tethered to a line, fed brush tail swaying gentle in the heat. The totem hung from the horn, tied with leather cord, still stained with his blood. He rose slow, joints tight, muscles dull. Each motion reminded him that the pain had not left, only shifted. He walked with no direction. Boots soft against the sand camp behind him. Silence still held. He passed the place of fire, the place of stone. The grave he dug, the circle he bled in, all quiet, all finished. The wind carried no song, only dry earth and old memory. He saddled the horse, swung up with a grunt, sat straight, the totem tapped. Lightly with each step, tied firm unmoving. He rode without command, without map, without cause. No path marked, no sign given. The world had not changed, but he had. He felt lighter, but heavier. Unburdened, yet full of weight that could not be carried by pack or pouch. His back straightened, not from pride, from knowing the road ahead would not chase him, but the dust behind would never fully fall away. Hooves kicked small clouds behind. He did not look back. The sun climbed higher, painted the sky in golden bone. Time passed without measure. The desert stretched wide, empty, but watching. He crested a ridge, let the horse slow. There, far off, on the next rise, a figure, small, still on horseback, not moving, not close enough to know, but clear enough to feel a child, not the one from the camp, not the boy with the totem, another younger, different, but the same in silence, same in stillness. Watching the cowboy did not wave, did not call. He let the horse walk on, let the ridge pass beneath him, let the child remain. He knew, now some debts lived longer than memory, some watchers never turned away. He rode toward nothing, but carried something, and for the first time in years, he did not run. The desert held still. The wind moved slow over flat ground. Sun high, sky wide. No clouds. A rise of stone stood alone. Rough rocks piled by hand, some small, some sharp, all chosen. The cowboy knelt beside it, one knee planted, hands coated in dry grit. He placed the final stone at the top, pressed it firm, felt the weight settle beneath it. A shape lay hidden, wrapped in cloth, bound tight, the totem stained, worn wood faded from light, edges dulled by time and travel. He had carried it for months, tied to the saddle horn, through canyons, through silence, through places where no language lived. Now it rested still, returned to earth, not buried in shame but in peace. He leaned back, pulled a knife from his belt, held it flat in his palm. Not for harm, not for blood. The stone before him waited. He carved slow, careful, one letter at a time. Not a name, not his, just a word, a vow, carved deep into the front face. The blade scraped until dust filled the cuts. Sunlight caught the lines. A promise made without witness, but meant for more than one. He sat back, studied it, then reached forward, pressed his palm flat to the carving, flesh against stone, warm against cold. The mark held. The wind picked up light. Then stronger, enough to stir the dust around his boots. It lifted, swirled past across the pile, past across his back. He did not move. The dust danced over the rock, over the letters, over the print of his hand. It left a layer thin as breath. But the shape remained, clear, a handprint pressed flat, holding the word beneath it. The cowboy stood. He did not speak, did not look back. He walked from the stone steps, slow even. No hurry in his heels. The desert watched him leave, offered no sign, no sound, only silence and heat, and one new shape rising from the land, a marker without name, without title, but not without meaning behind it. The wind died down. The print held firm. The word untouched, one truth set in stone, left for the land to keep, for the next writer, the next child, the next one who needed to know that something had been given and something had been paid. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and comment on the Old Western Tales.